As the years advance upon us, a subtle yet profound decline often begins in the very foundation of our mobility, the legs. This weakening process frequently precedes any noticeable subjective sensation of frailty, eventually culminating in a perilous loss of control, instability, and, for a disheartening number of individuals, a catastrophic fall. Such falls stand as a leading cause of traumatic fatality among the elderly population. However, this trajectory is not an immutable decree of aging. It is a condition that can be actively mitigated and even reversed through considered strategic lifestyle modifications. Greetings, health champions. Today's discussion pivots around 10 exemplary food sources that can significantly contribute to fortifying your lower extremities. In reflecting upon the prevalent advice offered online, I must confess a realization. Much of the readily available guidance is often superficial, haphazardly assembled, and ultimately misleading. Many content creators generating these videos harbor a superficial understanding of genuine health dynamics. They grasp at straws, casually mentioning simple nutrients. For instance, stating that sweet potatoes contain potassium, and since potassium is vital for nerve signaling, one should consume sweet potatoes. They address the symptom of leg weakness without truly grasping the underlying pathology, often mischaracterizing sarcopenia. They merely describe the condition, muscle loss, or weakness, rather than elucidating its root causes or providing a holistic intervention strategy. They might point out that muscles require energy, and oats, being rich in complex carbohydrates, supply abundant energy, while sweet potatoes and oats are not inherently the absolute worst dietary choices, assuming one can tolerate a certain carbohydrate load. Casually recommending them based on a single nutrient fact, disconnected from the broader physiological context, is deeply flawed. The notion that simply ingesting these foods will magically bolster strength and facilitate robust recovery is a gross oversimplification of human physiology. Our objective here is to furnish you with a more comprehensive, integrated perspective. The paramount initial step is to deeply comprehend why this issue warrants such widespread attention. Why are weakening legs such a significant danger as we age? As mentioned, compromised leg strength directly translates to reduced control and impaired balance, dramatically escalating the risk of a fall. A fall, as we established, is the primary mechanism of debilitating trauma in older adults. Even a seemingly minor tumble can result in a hip fracture. A hip fracture precipitates a period of immobility, leading to a substantial forfeiture of personal mobility. When mobility diminishes, the consequences cascade profoundly. I have frequently emphasized that the primary directive of movement is to fuel the brain by sending constant, robust signals. The cessation of movement precipitates a deterioration of cognitive vigor, a weakening of brain power, much like a limb encased in a cast begins to atrophy from disuse. If the brain is insufficiently stimulated, it begins a degenerative process. Should this degeneration advance sufficiently, it can ultimately compromise vitality and hasten death. The statistics surrounding this are sobering. Up to 50% of individuals who suffer a hip fracture pass away within 1 year of the event. Even for those who survive the initial trauma, the quality of life is seldom restored to its former state, with up to 60% requiring long-term care thereafter. The encouraging news is that this serious decline is precisely what can be counteracted through targeted proactive strategies. Prevention fundamentally rests upon a dual pillar: exercise and nutrition. Exercise, in this context, is relatively straightforward. The mechanism by which exercise aids muscle building involves the micro-tearing of muscle fibers during exertion. During the subsequent recovery phase, the body repairs these fibers, ideally making them stronger than before. However, the second, equally crucial component is the signal. Exercise provides the necessary stimulus, the challenge, that tells the body why it must initiate the repair process. If you remain entirely sedentary and some muscle fibers degrade due to lack of use, without a sufficient signal, the body lacks the imperative to fully repair them to their previous strength level, let alone enhance them. While I could dedicate an entire video to exercise protocols, Do let me know in the comments if such a video would be valuable. The most significant area of confusion revolves around diet. This is the focus I intend to dissect today. Diet provides the raw materials necessary for muscle repair and maintenance. The ideal dietary contribution must supply the requisite fuel, incorporate necessary cofactors and catalysts, and deliver a spectrum of vitamins and minerals essential for regulating these complex biological reactions. Delving into the specifics, this necessitates high-quality fats for primary fuel, a measured intake of carbohydrates, provided they are tolerated, as my general stance is not in favor of habitually consuming 300 grams of carbohydrates daily, particularly for those managing diabetes or carbohydrate intolerance. I advocate for very low carbohydrate or even ketogenic approaches, ensuring even a minimal intake of 10 grams comes from whole food sources. Quality proteins, essential fatty acids, and a rich assortment of vitamins and minerals. Yet, even this detailed accounting is insufficient because we must consider the overarching context. We are not all biochemically identical. Your nutritional strategy must also vigorously support your underlying metabolic health. The dietary requirements for a diabetic individual differ markedly from those of a 20-year-old competitive athlete. Furthermore, diet must actively combat neuroinflammation. A significant proportion of individuals suffering from chronic, low-grade systemic inflammation also develop neuroinflammation, an inflammatory state within the brain and nervous system. When the nervous system is inflamed, proper signaling becomes impossible. Therefore, the food choices must actively nourish the neuromuscular junction. Without accurate signaling, even the finest cut of steak offers little benefit. The muscle is inert without the correct command. We must also address timing in relation to balance and coordination, which rely on the synergy between muscle mass and neural communication. If your nervous system is compromised by excessive neuroinflammation, your muscular function will never reach its full potential. But why do the legs, specifically, seem to deteriorate faster than the musculature elsewhere in the body? Consider the effects of complete immobilization. In a coma or under strict bed rest, one can lose up to 50% of muscle mass in just 30 days, an extreme example. Yet, over a 30-year period of sedentary living, we essentially replicate this slow-motion catastrophe by habitually failing to impose regular, loading stress on the body. This chronic underutilization means that by the time someone reaches their 60s or 70s, they may have already lost a staggering 50% of their quadriceps strength, a 50% to 70% decline relative to their peak strength for that age bracket. The legs degrade more rapidly largely because they possess a higher proportion of type 2 fast-twitch muscle fibers compared to the average musculature elsewhere in the body. These fast-twitch fibers are notoriously prone to atrophy. They break down and weaken at an accelerated rate when not challenged. Here are 10 foods presented without a specific order of ranking that provide the necessary building blocks and regulatory elements for leg strength, nerve integrity, and systemic balance. Number 1. Eggs consumed whole, including the yolk. For maximum benefit, the entire egg must be consumed. Eggs are replete with an essential amino acid called leucine. Leucine is a key driver of muscle growth, activating a pathway known in cellular biology as mTOR, mammalian target of rapamycin, a pathway whose only function, for our purposes here, is to initiate muscle building. Beyond protein synthesis signals, eggs are exceptionally rich in choline, which serves as the foundational raw material for acetylcholine, a critical neurotransmitter the body uses to fire muscle commands. Eggs also supply vitamin B12, which is indispensable for maintaining signal integrity. A deficiency in B12 can lead to compromised signaling because B12 is vital for maintaining the myelin sheath, the insulating layer wrapped around our internal electrical wiring, the nerves that transmit signals. Furthermore, eggs are loaded with essential fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. The body utilizes these fats to construct appropriate cellular membranes, which are necessary for every cell, including nerve cells and muscle cells. When cells possess the correct types of internal fats, coupled with the highly available protein from the egg, you create an optimal environment for robust signaling and amino acid supply. In fact, outside of human breast milk, eggs offer the highest percentage of bioavailable amino acids for the human body. A critical point here is the quality of the egg. Pasture-raised eggs, from hens allowed to roam, consume insects and grass, and receive sunlight, can contain 2 to 7 times the concentration of these crucial nutrients compared to conventionally raised eggs. Number 2. Salmon and other cold water fatty fish, sardines, mackerel. Fatty fish constitute the richest natural source of EPA and DHA, the essential fatty acids we just linked to cellular membrane health, and which eggs also provide. When we consume sufficient amounts of these fats, they play a vital role in helping the body modulate inflammation, moving it toward a balanced state rather than an aggressively inflammatory one. They function as anti-inflammatory modulators. Importantly, fatty acids have been shown to increase muscle protein synthesis in older adults. Just as with eggs, the provenance matters significantly. Comparing wild salmon to farmed salmon reveals distinct differences, particularly in the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. Wild salmon often exhibits a ratio of 1.4, higher omega-3 being the beneficial component, a unique feature for wild fish. Farmed salmon, while still generally favoring omega-3s, might present a ratio closer to 1.1 or 1.2. It is important to contextualize this. If dining out and forced to choose between conventionally raised chicken and farmed salmon, the salmon remains the superior option, compared to highly processed, carbohydrate-laden alternatives like bread and cheese. Fatty fish are also premium sources of highly bioavailable protein, second only to the best pasture-raised eggs. Beyond protein and fats, salmon contains selenium and astaxanthin, powerful antioxidants. Reducing oxidative damage in the mitochondria of muscles and nerves means these critical structures are less prone to rapid decay. Thus, fish fats support reduced inflammation, bolster mitochondrial function, energy production in the muscle, and fortify nerve membranes, the cells responsible for signal transmission. The cumulative effect supports increased strength, balance, and overall energy output. Number 3. Grass-fed beef. Grass-fed beef is particularly noted for its high content of creatine. Creatine is famous among athletes as a foundational supplement because it acts as a phosphate carrier in the ATP-ADP cycle, the fundamental energy currency transport system in the body. Having more available creatine allows the ATP cycle to regenerate energy, ATP, more rapidly, essential for repeated powerful muscle contractions. Beef is also a potent source of highly bioavailable iron. Iron is crucial for hemoglobin formation, which dictates the capacity of red blood cells to transport oxygen. Adequate oxygen delivery is non-negotiable for muscle function, growth, and repair. Furthermore, beef supplies B12, which aids both the maturation of red blood cells and the critical process of nerve conduction. These two elements together ensure both the muscle receives the necessary oxygen and the neural signal arrives efficiently. High-quality beef is also rich in zinc and represents a top-tier animal protein source, yielding amino acids readily available for muscle rebuilding. I strongly advocate for grass-fed over grain-fed beef when feasible. The nutritional divergence is significant. Grass-fed beef can boast up to 5 times more beneficial omega-3 fatty acids, 2 to 3 times more conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, and 2 to 3 times more vitamin E than its feedlot counterparts. If grass-fed is unobtainable, however, conventional beef remains vastly superior to heavily processed meats laden with inflammatory sugars and saturated fats often found in low-quality, sugary, fat-added products. Number 4. Unsweetened full-fat yogurt, Greek or plain. When selecting yogurt, aim for full fat, ideally Greek style for its higher protein concentration. Crucially, opt for plain, unsweetened varieties. In many commercial US yogurts, when the fat is stripped out to make it low fat, extra fats or stabilizers are often added back to compensate for texture loss. Full-fat yogurt more closely resembles the natural product. If you can find a very tart yogurt, it suggests the bacteria have consumed more of the natural milk sugar, lactose, meaning more live, active cultures remain, a boost for your probiotic population. If commercial options are poor, making your own is an excellent alternative. A thriving, functional microbiome is essential for optimizing nutrient absorption, ensuring that the nutritional gifts from the other foods on this list are effectively utilized. A healthy gut flora also actively dampens systemic inflammation, much of which originates from the body's inability to properly break down and process food due to microbial imbalance. Yogurt also provides calcium, a non-negotiable mineral required for the precise mechanics of muscle contraction, and it delivers high-quality animal protein essential for muscle structure. Number 5. Bone broth. Bone broth is a powerhouse for connective tissue and gut health. It is rich in collagen, which directly supports the repair and maintenance of joints, ligaments, and the intestinal lining. Addressing gut integrity is paramount. As previously discussed, a healthy gut reduces systemic inflammation and enhances nutrient assimilation. Beyond the gut, maintaining the structural integrity of joints and ligaments is vital for strength because pain shuts down muscle activation as a protective mechanism, severely limiting mobility. Bone broth is also abundant in glycine, an amino acid known to reduce chronic inflammation and promote neurological calm. Furthermore, it is rich in glutamine, which plays a critical role in healing intestinal permeability, leaky gut. The concept of the gut-brain axis is vital here. When the gut is inflamed and leaky, inflammatory substances can cross into the bloodstream and reach the brain, contributing to the neuroinflammation we wish to avoid. Therefore, supporting the gut via ingredients like bone broth directly aids the brain and nervous system. Number 6. Vegetables, emphasizing non-starchy and leafy greens. You can consume vast quantities of non-starchy vegetables such as spinach, kale, broccoli, and Swiss chard without overloading your system with carbohydrates or spiking blood sugar. These greens are densely packed with essential minerals like magnesium and potassium, crucial for muscle relaxation and nerve function, along with B vitamins and vitamin K1. They are also rich in nitrates, precursors to nitric oxide, which facilitates vasodilation, improving blood flow to working muscles and the brain. These vegetables inherently reduce systemic inflammation, particularly through their polyphenols. While some individuals mistakenly label polyphenols as mere plant toxins, they are exceptionally important. They serve as foundational food sources for your beneficial gut bacteria. The greater the diversity of plant-based polyphenols you consume, the more diverse and robust your microbiome becomes, further supporting the gut-brain axis and mitigating inflammation. They also fuel your mitochondria, not by supplying direct energy like fats or carbs, but by supplying the necessary catalytic micronutrients that allow the mitochondria to perform their energy conversion tasks effectively. Number 7. Nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds are valuable sources of key minerals such as magnesium and zinc. Certain seeds, like flaxseed and chia seeds, contain omega-3s in the form of ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, while the body's conversion rate of ALA to the active forms, EPA, DHA, is inefficient. Their inclusion still aids in maintaining a healthier overall omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. They also contribute vitamin E and protein. How do they support muscle function? Muscle contraction and relaxation require a precise balance of sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. When these minerals are present in the correct ratios, the muscle can both contract forcefully and relax completely, preventing debilitating cramps. They are also necessary for efficient nerve transmission and the production of small signaling molecules like neurotransmitters in the legs. Number 8. Legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas. Historically, I've been cautious about legumes in some contexts due to their carbohydrate load, which conflicts with extremely low-carb protocols. However, if your metabolism allows for moderate carbohydrate intake, they represent a diverse and valuable addition. They supply respectable amounts of protein, potassium, iron, B vitamins, and significant fiber. The specific types of fiber and polyphenols found in beans are unique. They act as prebiotics, feeding beneficial gut bacteria. Moreover, legumes contain precursors that form nitric oxide, linking back to improved blood flow via vasodilation. Incorporating them diversifies the gut microbiome, which, in turn, bolsters the gut-brain axis, helping to regulate inflammation systemically. Number 9. Berries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries. Berries are exceptional because they are high in fiber, nutrient-dense, and relatively low in sugar and overall carbohydrates. Many berries are rich in compounds called anthocyanins. These compounds are particularly notable for their potential role in modulating BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF is often termed the brain's fertilizer. It is essential for neurogenesis, the creation of new neurons and new synapses, connections. If you aim to improve the brain-to-muscle signaling loop, enhance strength, and build coordination, you must support the creation and maintenance of these neural pathways. BDNF assists this critical process, directly impacting your ability to refine muscle control. Berries also support the microbiome, linking back to the gut-brain axis, help improve blood flow to both muscles and the brain, and some research suggests they assist in preserving the type 2 fast-twitch muscle fibers we identified as being prone to rapid atrophy. Number 10, avocados, a near-perfect plant-based food. Avocados epitomize an excellent dietary choice because they are replete with healthy fats, a balance of monounsaturated fats. These fats are crucial because they are biologically neutral. They help reduce overall systemic inflammation simply by displacing inflammatory fats from the diet. They are also richly supplied with minerals, vitamin B6 and vitamin E. Vitamin B6 is a mandatory component in the synthesis of neurotransmitters, those signaling molecules essential for relaying commands from the brain to the muscle. Therefore, while building muscle mass is one component, ensuring the electrical wires carrying the command are insulated, myelin, well-fueled, fats, and supported by the necessary chemical messengers, B6 for neurotransmitters, is equally vital. In summary, building resilient, strong legs and consequently maintaining balance and preventing devastating falls requires far more than simply targeting one macronutrient or mineral. It necessitates a symphony of high-quality fats, bioavailable proteins, targeted micronutrients, and a carefully nurtured gut environment that supports optimal nervous system communication. You cannot achieve true strength by focusing on a single component. Rather, it is the strategic combination of these 10 food categories tailored to your metabolic needs that creates the robust physiological platform necessary for enduring vitality. If you would like to see a dedicated video detailing actionable exercise protocols designed to build this foundational leg strength, please indicate your interest in the comments below. If you found value in this deeper dive into the physiological realities underpinning mobility and aging, please like this video. And if you are committed to mastering your health by understanding the true mechanisms of how the human body functions, ensure you subscribe, ring the notification bell, and select all alerts so you never miss a life-saving, informative video.